It's time for the Jim and Terry Show.
Yes, indeed, it's the Jim and Terry Show coming to you in person from the Hobbit Hole Studio in downtown Bobcaygeon. I'm Terry.
And I'm Jim, visiting Bobcaygeon in the Hobbit Hole Studio with Terry.
And you didn't bring your Maple Leaf blankie, Jim.
I didn't bring my Maple Leaf blankie. I'm feeling good.
The Leafs are doing well.
Yeah,
they lost
doing.
their last
Yeah,
game.
they did.
I think, against the Oilers. Connor McDavid had a spectacular night, 3 points or something, and that seemed to bury the Leafs.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all, that's for sure. So.
I'd just like to win once in a while.
Well, as I said, I'll get excited when they're hoisting the cup. Then I'll go,
I'll get excited if they make the first round.
Yeah.
And then I'll get excited if they make the second round.
Yeah, well, they got it. Yeah, first things first, I agree.
Finish the
Get
season.
in the freaking playoffs.
Finish the season.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to make this one, we'll start off anyway. We'll see where it goes, the political podcast. I've always been intrigued by the notion of where people get their news and information and why people believe what they read, see, hear on the news. So I've always been one to say, you know what? And I think I showed you 4 years ago a poll that said on average, people who are liberal, democratic, tend to consult 4 to 5 news sources for their news and information. Whereas if you are conservative or Republican, you tend to consult one. Whatever your favorite right-wing conservative platform is, you tend to get it all from there. Well, in front of us, we have a chart that's showing us the repercussions of this, and it's just speaking to the divide.
What can I tell you? I get my sources. I'm sort of a conservative-leaning human being, not fully, as you would say, more moderate. But I get all my sources from CNN and MSNBC, which is a liberal.
And that puts you down here in this really interesting column, which is the polar opposite of Fox News, which leans 93% towards the conservative or GOP audience.
Well, I wouldn't be able to take Fox because, number one, what has come out lately about Fox is just a sham. They're evil, in my opinion. Their thought pattern's evil. Maybe not them, but Tucker Carlson, who is rich, from birth,
$35 million a year,
makes a fortune on Fox lying to the people. You and I know they're lying, but those who pay attention to him don't, because Fox sort of fails to broadcast what the rest of the world's broadcasting about Fox. And Murdoch has admitted that he could have stopped the lie about the election being stolen and didn't. He knows it was Biden won that election. But because of Fox, I know someone who claims to be a prophet, seems to think that Joe Biden's going to be killed or something, and God forbid, and Trump's going to be crowned, maybe president or king forever in the United States. And that's due to the audience that she's catering to, which is very much a Foxites.
Okay, Foxite. I like that.
Yeah. And if they're just going there and that's all they're going to go, and they just like to tune into Tucker Carlson because they just want to say, yeah, man, I dig that guy, then what are you going to do? You're not going to change it. You're not going to change it. I'm not going to change it.
I'm going to go back to this survey that's on the screen in front of us. And for our audience, I'm just going to say that Fox News has an audience that leans 93% of their viewership is to the right.
Yeah.
And on the other side, the Democratic side or liberal side, it leans 95% towards MSNBC. But then I'm looking at this block from what the conservatives, far right would label derisively, I might add, fake news. ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, NPR, New York Times, all of those together, look at how solid. Half of them, at least, is the lowest on those percentages. On the other side, half of Fox goes to ABC. So that's not bad. You're at least consulting another point of view. And 41 and 38% for CBS and NBC. Those are all mainstream media. Now, when you get to these ones, you get the big drop-off. But this drop-off doesn't really happen until you get to Fox. And then virtually
I can see
no people who are, I'm going to say, aware.
Well, Fox has been exposed. I mean, it really has. They're in court right now, folks. You people who love Fox, they're in court right now. They have admitted they lied to you, and you don't care. I don't know. You got to really, you do have to give your head a shake. You don't care. If CNN was found out that way, I wouldn't listen to CNN anymore.
Yep.
I can't listen to Fox because I know they're lying to you.
Yes.
And they're just interested in making money and ratings. And I'm a conservative, but I couldn't listen to them. I'd rather listen to nothing.
I try to walk the middle line. My viewership, I do poke into Fox just to see how the news is being covered. Would you expect Fox to cover stories that favor Joe Biden?
No, of course not.
Would you expect them to cover stories that favor Ukraine or Zelensky?
No.
No. Would you expect them to cover stories that say the train derailment in East Palestine is blamed on Biden? I would expect them to cover that one. They're going to screw the Biden administration on East Palestine. However, anything to do with the Murdoch story, the $1.6 billion lawsuit with the Fox host deliberately named, with the email trail that proves that they knew that they were lying, Sean Hannity. I mean, I've been saying this for at least 5 years and named them by names. And now 5 years later, there's a lawsuit, and I hope Fox goes down. It is not a news service. It is not a news channel. Fox News? Forget it. It's never been Fox News. Maybe at one time it was closer, but I also named all the anchors who I followed on Fox. Chris Wallace, when they left. Shep Smith, when he left. And I said, there goes your news. Now what do you got? Propaganda. That's all you got. I've been saying this for years.
Well,
and I hate to say it, but, I'm not a prophet, but I could see it.
Oh, yeah. Well, part of the problem is those who did deliver the news were no doubt it became harder and harder for them to work in that environment. We heard the audio of, was it audio? I can't remember now. It was Tucker Carlson saying to Murdoch or somebody, fire her.
Yes.
Because she had done some investigating and found out a truth, and he didn't want the truth. That'll affect ratings.
Yeah, one of his guests
and
was fact-checked.
And it's not just TV and everything. People, you got to understand, follow the money on absolutely everything. There's very few people do things for other people. Very few. And there's a lot of people that will do anything for money. Anything. They just covered a thing on TV about you could go online and you could order drugs from online, and it was killing 6 out of 10 people, and it was totally cartel.
And you could order opioids?
Yeah, but it
fentanyl,
but it was disguised as something different.
Yeah,
and they, obviously the people selling it knew exactly what they're doing. Yep. 6 out of 10 die taking that product. Wow. They market that product knowing 6 people are going to die out of 10. You're killing them, and you could not care less. And I think
that's not a good business plan, Jim, if you're killing your market.
Well, the idea is, but they're doing it for their grab, for their money, to rip people off. I mean, how many times have you heard of people ripping other people off? And you say, how could they do that? I told you about a rock star who, after a show, his friend in the band came to the dressing room and said, oh, for the corporation's sake, we need to get this signed. And he said, okay. And he said, okay, I'll go get the papers now. He didn't think anything. It was his friend. Friend came back. He signed it, signed himself out of the deal. He wrote the songs. He was the star. And to this day, the other 2 members of that band are traveling around with the name.
Wow.
But they screwed him over.
Be careful
deliberately.
Who you trust.
They screwed him over deliberately for money.
And that was a friend.
That was a friend in a band that you formed together. Did that. scum of the earth.
So you're going to the issue of trust, and I'm still going to go back to where do you get your trust from? In your media, if you find out that your source of information is proved to be a liar, taken to court, had their asses sued, then should you not give up on that as a reliable source of news?
No, because they're going to listen to all the other people making money online who have podcasts and everything else that are going to say to you, that didn't really happen. That's fake news. That didn't really happen. The government took their company from them. Yeah. That's what really happened. The government took their company. And people are going to believe that. They're going to want to believe what they believe.
Okay. Well, let me, in the last few minutes, go back to then say, I find it really difficult, and I struggle with this. God bless America and all that stuff. But when your Congress has over 140 members who are election deniers, who voted to overturn the election, and they're now heading up your committees, the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, Lone Boberts, Matt Gaetz, and Gossors, and all the rest of them, why are they even in a body that's supposed to legislate and create laws for all Americans? Why are they there?
I think it was 100 years ago or 80 years ago, some person was found out to be like they all are, and they were ousted.
I think they were tarred and feathered and ran out of town.
They were just absolutely ousted.
And
the sad thing is those people, yeah, you're right. They, I don't know what they thought they were going to get out of the deal other than have a powerful position in a dictator's government. Because if Trump gets elected again, I'd really be cautious that you're ever going to have an election again.
I hear you on that one. I happen to agree with you. Yeah, so this divided world, we're looking at a chart that says Fox News has 93% of their audience is conservative or leans Republican, whereas the MSNBC is the opposite end of the poll, where 95% of the liberals listen there. But I'm also concerned about how we discern the truth. Next podcast, discernment. A moment or a weird life. Ooh.